Hallo, schönen guten Abend, good evening all together to this very first talk of a series about femininity, courage and authenticity. And I'm talking in English tonight because my guest is Amala Klep, and she's from Belgium and her native language is French. Mine is German, and we kind of decided to meet in the middle, so this is in English. We will have about half an hour of conversation about courage and authenticity as women today in this 21st century, mainly in the Western world. And the idea to have this conversation with all these inspiring women is coming from my work, where I support women to really walk their own path, to find their inner voice and to find their authentic being, which is not that easy because we all have strong conditioning from society, and not only bad ones, also good ones. But yeah, it's not always easy to hear that, really, that inner calling, that inner fire. So I have invited several inspiring women who are willing to share their own story and a little bit about their tools. And we hope both to inspire you and maybe give the igniting spark to really even find a deeper access to your own voice. So, my dear Amala, hi. I'm gonna invite you in. Let's see if you're ready. Hey, there she is. Hi, beloved sister. Hi, thank you for your time.
With great pleasure. Very happy to be here.
So, Amala, we've talked a little bit, or we didn't really talk about before that talk, but I do have some questions for you, which I think could be interesting for all our listeners. But before we start, I would love if you could share a little bit about your story, because you are a mother and a partner and a woman and an author and the founder of the Mystery School. So you do a lot of inspiring work, which is, I would say, a little bit off the trodden path of the normal 8 to 5 job. And maybe you want to share a little bit how you found the access to on your path, and what it has to do with courage for you.
So first, I really liked your invitation to talk about courage and authenticity, which really was with me those last days, and I'm going to share with that later when we dive into it. It was an interesting question to ask myself, because I think I feel that my whole life was about that. So it's been so natural for me that I never thought, oh, I'm going to take another, like a more marginal path or something. It was like my calling, and I just answered it. So I know it might not be as easy for everyone. I never questioned it. Like my medicine is working with dreams. Since I'm a very young girl, I've been writing my dreams, and I love to say that I never take a great decision in my life without asking my dreams. If it resonates, if this calling, this decision, this opportunity is answering my deep call, or it's about ego, or it's about fear. So I'm writing since I'm very little too. I've been writing a lot of theater and a lot of novel and whatever, because in my first life I used to be an actress and theater director and theater teacher, and then there was this very strong call to change life, and there was this deep lack of sense and this feeling, am I actually in a place in my life where I can manifest like soul desires, or is it just a game that I don't want to play anymore? So between my call for that brought me to theater and acting, which was authenticity, which was I don't want to limit myself in this life, and I want to be able to embody all the characters in me, and I don't want to be that woman, but I just want to be all of them, you know. That's why I started, and that's why I was writing and everything. And but the difference between the calling and the reality of the work was very strong. And I think that's something very like current today, like this feeling we lack the deep sense of what we are doing, because the reality out in the outer world is not answering in that way, you know. Even in our work, you, Katharina, and I, we work, we guide women, we are here to share inspiration, everything. But then, you know, if we start, and I'm sure you're going to talk about that, but if we start to be too much identified to the role and too much taken into the game, then it's becoming a competition about how much will I produce, how much will I be on the social network, oh, that woman, and blah, 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 you know?
Yeah.
So then I stepped back and I answered to the deep call of my soul, which guided me to India for like a long period, and etc., etc. My life, it's a big story, but yes, today I'm writing about mythology, about dreams, about archetypes, which I love, for empowering women, to empower women. And I feel like, yeah, authenticity is always like my, you know, like my way to measure, am I right? Am I in my acts? Or am I out of myself? Am I answering a fear, or am I answering a deep call? So I love that you are opening this subject on authenticity. Really resonates.
Yeah. So I noticed when listening to you, I get really curious about when you were describing that you had that inner calling, and because I feel many women do have that calling, and they at the beginning they kind of ignore it because they think it's just like, you know, what have dreams? I mean, come on, how can I make my living, or how can I really invest into dreams, or singing, you know, how can my singing really be my medicine, or how you know. So sometimes there is this calling, but it takes this step, it takes this courage to really come out with it. So I'm wondering, like, first of all, like, can you name it? Can you, like, what was it that kind of brought you into that step to really create what you were called for? You know, maybe to you, maybe it was just clear, and then you said, okay, I'm going to start publishing a book about dreams. I know that you had, you were founding that center in the south of France. So I don't know, is it just, you just did it? Because I assume there were also kind of like a counter movement of intention of holding you back, and then it needs courage and really authenticity. So I'm yeah. Do you understand what I'm maybe?
Sure.
Yeah.
Like most of the time when I am with a group and I am talking about that topic about, you know, life dharma or life mission, I ask them, what was the dream you had when you were a little girl or a little boy, you know, and who did you want to be by that time? And I think, like, if you really want to be authentic with yourself, you have to go back there, nowhere else. And it feels like, if you know, lately I wrote a text about, would the little girl, would the little Amala be proud of me today? And it was not easy to answer that. It was not easy. And even when I'm sharing it now, I feel like emotion, and I feel like yeah, it's yeah, I have tears like coming, like, because it's something we can answer calls in our life in order to be respected or to be considered by adults. But if we can answer to that question, would the little girl be proud of me, by choosing that, by going there, and we can answer yes, then it's definitely something you have to do, you know?
Yeah, it's beautiful. That's really, really nice too. Yeah.
You feel, right?
Yeah, I can totally, because to me it feels like, if I translate it into my language, it feels like, if you ask that girl, you really you're going back into your desires, you're going back into this, before this conditioning, it's coming up, not here, but really going down into your womb space, or going down into this and feeling from there. Yeah. That's a beautiful method.
So there, I'm someone very intense, you know, and very passionate. So when you ask how did I choose it, how did I answer the call, it was always for me as intense and like overreacted it can seem. It was always to me a question of life or death. When I chose to leave my country and go to Paris and become an actress there, it was not like I want to be a star. It was like, if I'm not doing that, I'm gonna die. You know, I was acting since very young, and I had already participated to a lot of competition and had some prizes, and it was much more than, it was really like, that's my food, you know. And if it's your food, if it's your air, you cannot do anything else than doing it, you know. And you will find out how you will manage and how money and everything will follow, but you have no choice. And so I'm very like fiery, so it's easy for me to follow the call. And I know some people need more time and it's more difficult, and I can completely relate to it, because actually my way of answering it, it's sometimes also not listening to the fears, you know, which is not always the best thing.
This is because this is one of, I think, the most important reminders for myself, is as long as we choose it's like, as long as we choose our fears, we will not choose our vision. And it is so important to remember that there are fears and that they're natural, but you really have to decide, do I want to go with my fears, or do I really want to go with what I'm passionate for? And there is this vulnerable spot, because you don't really know yet if you're going to be successful, or if it's successful not in the outer terms, but in the, if it's going to be really bright.
Sure. And now I have this this sentence of Shamili coming in my head, that says, even if you wouldn't be there, I would be sitting here, you know. And that's my answer to this notion of success. It's like, it doesn't matter. I mean, then you have to think about bills, and that's for sure, but in the first movement, it doesn't matter if it works outside. If it's the only thing in the world I can be doing, then it is my place in the world, you know. And then I'm in my true power, and I'm expressing my own magic, and it's impossible people don't answer around, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I think, I hope everybody heard that, because I think this is so true. If you're doing what you are here for, and even if nobody would show up, as you just said, it, you just have to do it. And I think if you go with that energy, there has to be resonance. I mean, that's the law of the universe. There has to be resonance.
Yeah. And it's all a question about loving ourselves, right? Authenticity, it's all about that to me. The more you love yourself, the more, you know, I was very, you know, I really loved your invitation about authenticity, because I never took so much time staying with that word, you know. And I have those two lovely little cards with the angel cards I took with me those last days to be connected to it.
Oh,
and I think the drawing is amazing, you know, because you know, the heart is glowing. And it's really like, when you are authentic, you are at the only place in the world where you can be, and you are glowing, you know, and you are in your magic. And then I love this one about courage, jumping, you know, what we just said, like if you can listen to the fears and let them having power over you, but then you are not answering the vision. So yes, I loved this invitation, and I went to see the how do you say, the etymology of the word, and in Greek it means answering to one's own authority only.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. I mean, that's just it. Yeah.
I think it's amazing, you know, if you go back. I love going back, you know. I created a mystery school to go back to those knowledge we had, and to, you know, if you go back, then you can see what's coming next, you know. You can have the real vision, like our own stories, you know. When I guide women, I always work on the little girl, and I always work on the lineage, because you can run away, you know. You can run away, pretend you are not coming from that family, not coming from that country. I know very well that topic, you know. But then at the end of the day, you are having a lot of similarity with your parents, and you are having all those footprints and belief system coming from your education. So if you want to teach people to love themselves, you have to start by loving your own history and where you're coming from. And then you can stand in your own authority, being authentic, when you're really in that place where I love myself, you know. I love my weaknesses, I love my fears, I love my impulsivity, I love being too much, blah 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 blah. I love all of that. It doesn't mean I validate myself, and I shouldn't, you know, continue looking and polishing, but I stop waiting to be perfect to be able to change my life, you know, waiting for the outer world to bring me something.
This is beautiful. Not waiting to be perfect to change my life. I think this is so important. Yeah, we always think, I have to do this inner work first, or I have to study this and learn this and learn this, and then I can. And just to understand, it's not going to stop. This is life. It's all, So if I understand you right, like authenticity, if you would define it, you kind of did. You said it's like loving yourself. Did I hear you?
For me, there are two aspects. There is this this etymology of the word, like answering to our own authority, like, you know, like not waiting for outer approval to, you know, do what you want to do and answering your call. But there is also a very important aspect to me, and it's kind of very well shown in that drawing, I think. This heart, this glowing heart, because there is also this quote of Shanti Mai saying, the heart doesn't need to be protected, the heart is the protection. And so this is the second aspect of authenticity to me, is you cannot be authentic if you're not allowing yourself to be naked, and if you don't allow yourself to be completely in touch with your vulnerability, and like having your heart open and saying, yes, yes, you know, I'm trembling, I'm afraid, but here I am, and I cannot be anywhere else in my life right now.
Yeah, this is such a good reminder. To what you just said is like why, to me, courage and authenticity, they're linked so much, because authenticity simply is the courage to be yourself, and it's a vulnerable place. Because being myself means being myself with all my edges, with all these shaky parts and the trembling parts and the things that I feel I don't know yet how to be with or to do with. So I really, courage and authenticity.
I hear you.
And it's and as you said, just the reminder, the heart is the protector. You know, to open up, to feel all the beauty and all the goodness and all the love, and at the same time, when you open up, you cannot choose to only only open up for the good stuff. If you open up, everything will come in and stand there in awe. That's beautiful.
And also I just think about our encounter, and that's something very specific in my life, you know, this call to something or to someone and just going there, you know, and showing yourself naked, and maybe you will be rejected, and maybe the people won't resonate, or maybe the situation won't resonate the way you thought it would, but you've done what you had to, right? And then at the end of the day, you can only say to yourself, you were courageous, right? And you didn't like try to suppress those feelings or those, you know, those movements of your body, because how people would react. And I think it's so important, and it's so much something we have forgotten in this world. And I'm very sad very often to see how much like people are suppressing themselves to express emotion, how much they love each other, just touching, you know, just looking in the eyes is so rare today. So I think it's really this edge where you're standing and you feel, oh, I'm gonna step back, and I won't do that. I'm just gonna sit and wait, you know, and maybe something will happen. This edge where you feel no, and you feel I have to, and no, but no direction is good, you know. But staying there, I think that's the whole point.
And I think you just gave another really magic pointer, you know, just like what would be if we would, like, each one of us would just ask that question every night, like, where was I courageous today? What
and it can be so small. I mean,
of course,
you know, because then we have image of heroic task or whatever, but when you just said that, I resonated, and I thought of my day, and there is this friend staying at home right now, and last night she woke me in the middle of the night, blah, blah, blah. And this morning I really didn't want to look in her eyes, you know, it was difficult for me, and then when I did it, it was good, and everything was, you know, like very simple again. And it's the more you open to that, the more you can see all those very heroic moments of a day, right? And you stop putting the heroic quest very far away from you, and the mythology and the sacred, and it's in the church or it's in the ashram or whatever. It's in your daily life where you can be authentic and courageous, and you know, answering the heroic call.
And the moment you just shared, when you look into the eyes of your friend this morning, I mean, every time you do these little things, or for me today was like riding a bike and singing out really loud, much louder than I would be comfortable with. I was just singing it all. I didn't care if I hit the note or didn't hit the note, but just to feel the energy that is freed when you don't hold back. Like, I mean, just I imagine just the energy when you finally looked into her eyes and you saw, because most of the time we are the reaction we expect is much worse than what's actually happening. Like in many times, it's like it's our fantasies that go into the worst case scenarios, and when we do it, it's like people normally like, yeah, okay, that's fine, and you expect it, like, and the energy that's free with it.
Yeah, and I think that's also the power of dreams, you know, because dreams are constantly like a Guruji preparing us. And most of the time we talk about dream as what happened the day before. But there are a lot of dream specialists who look at dreams as being a way to prepare the day after. And it's a whole different way of looking at it. And you know, when you said that like it's sometimes much worse in our imagination, like I had this dream the night I told you I'm going to incubate your question. I had this dream of so my husband has 2 girls with a women, and I never met her. And in the dream, she had become a vampire because she had eaten a snake.
Okay.
And in the dream, I was afraid, and I was running, and she was running after me. And working with that dream, I felt like so like I felt so much call to her energy. And the only thing I could think about this dream is when she ate the snake, and she ate that power, this symbol of the feminine, and she really ate it. Like, I don't give a shit about what people would think. I don't care if I'm too powerful. I want to eat my power. I want to be my power, you know. And the snake is like rejuvenation. It's like the cycle of the feminine. It's really like this Kali, you know. She eats this Kali food, and I could only see, like, staying with my dream and cherishing it, how powerful she is, you know. But in my daily life, I can have those thoughts about her, you know, those thoughts and judgments.
Yeah.
But when I connect to her on a soul level, like in my dream, then like I can tap in so much more power, and the relationship can change so much, you know, because suddenly she doesn't become an outer person. She is something in me. And then you don't have to be afraid of what's going to happen outside, because you are processing it inside already. There is also this beautiful quote about Kali, from Ravi Shankar, and he says, Kali is a fearful figure, and if you're able to face her, then you will have no fears at all in your life anymore. It's like, if you can connect to those very fearful energy, and if you can face them in yourself, and your worst nightmares about the world, about where we are going to, about your decision, and about your decision to quit or to start something new, if you can embrace these fears and really eat them like this snake, then nothing can frighten you in the outer world anymore. You are the fear also.
And you have you are the fear, and you kind of, the moment you face it, it falls apart, because it's just it doesn't have any control about you anymore. Thank you for sharing such intimate things as your dreams with us. Dear Amala, I have 2 more questions for you, and one of them is, I don't, like, either in your private life or in general, like, where do you personally feel that it is especially challenging for a woman, to live authentically or courageously? I mean, maybe there is, for you, there's no difference if for women or men, but maybe there is, and where do you feel women do have to be especially courageous or especially authentic to really step into their power?
Yeah, I feel there is a big difference. And that's something that is really like bringing emotions for me to feel it, to face it. And also like I'm very surprised to see that we are still so much into this need as women of approval. And I can feel it in myself very deeply. I mean, I know where it is in me. And it doesn't mean for men it's easier, it's just different. But if you can just relate how close the generation before us where women like were in a like second role, or I mean, I don't have to go back to that, you know what I mean, but it's so much in our energy, it's so much into our body and into our DNA still, and we can say no, I'm free, I'm a liberated woman, but it's still here, it's still very present. And and there is also this quote coming back, like, we fight it so hard to be equal, but maybe we should try maybe we should start to try softer, right? And
to try softer,
because we had to go into this Artemis, into this Kali power, in order to say I am existing by myself and I can do it all alone, I'm capable. But then we are on top of the mountain and we look around, if we say, oh, I don't feel any better, right? I'm just okay, I've proven myself, I'm worthy, but I don't feel like love for myself.
I read a beautiful quote very close to that yesterday, and it's also by a woman. I don't remember who it was. She said, we always worry about how do we get up the mountain, but how the fuck do we get down the mountain? So once you're up there and you're proven, you succeeded, and you're there and you have all these attention and all these expectations on you, how do I get off the mountain again?
Wow,
how do I get
beautiful.
Soft, and how do I get, like, where can I show my vulnerability and showing that I'm also, I need support and all of these things.
That's very beautiful. And that's funny, because just before I joined you, I saw passing a video about a singer, I don't know if you know her, who was called Diams. She was a French rapper, very well known. And then she stopped a few years ago. She stopped everything and she became a nun. And that's what she was talking about. That moment where she's almost like under ecstasy and you are on top, you have realized your dream. And then how can you tell people that actually it doesn't fulfill you? How can you tell people that, okay, there is this amazing moment where you're in front of the public, but then you're going back home and sorry, it was about battery. You don't feel any better, and you're not happier. Yeah, you are happy about that moment, but you're not happier in your life. So I love your image. Thank you. So the question was, yes, how do I see it in women? Yeah, it's really this need for approval that I noticed in myself and around me. And I think it's something that will never stop, actually. We should maybe stop thinking one day I won't need it anymore. But the more you love yourself, the more you can hug yourself in those moments and feel, okay, I hear your need for approval, I hear your need for recognition, and it's okay. I'm here, and I'm here, and just breathing in it, and then it can release much faster.
And from the biological point of view, it makes total sense. It's like the approval is like the coherence to the herd, to to the group, to your community. You know, it's like your survival depended on it, that people approve you and take you into their community. So it, like you said, it will always be there, but this fine line of, do I only serve their needs, or do I really serve my needs by now? Like, can I really be faithful and loyal to myself, which is
But it's a difficult question, right? Because it's very easy to be like mistaking our own need with the need of the group, right? It's not always that easy.
I mean, that's the common thing. That's the common thing. Yeah.
So there was something about authenticity that came immediately also to me when you asked about this talk together. It was this image, and I found it very lovely that it came from you, because it was the first image that came to my mind was Aries. The astrological sign of Aries.
Okay.
Because to me, like, Aries are the image of authentic being. And knowing that it's your solar sign.
Yeah, for people that don't, it is my so Aries is Widder in German, if just in case people don't know.
So it really made me smile, and I know how much, I mean, we are like all working on our own medicine, and it makes so much sense that you are working on that authenticity. And like, I always loved the Aries women in my life, and they always help me a lot to listen to this authorization to go your own way, and it really doesn't matter how it looks like from the outside. And I think about like several women that I love, and very often I can connect to this power, this I call it also Lilith energy, you know, Lilith energy, which is this women who took the apple and talked to the snake, the same image I had in my dream, you know, who stepped into the power of the snake. And the power of the snake is also accepting death, because like this, the snake loses his skin every once in a while, like women. We are entering this cycle of life and death every month in our body. And the more we accept this cycle, the more we become authentic, because we stop pretending that we are constantly the same humor, and you know.
That's amazing. Yes, totally.
So Lilith is really like the authentic women who accepted to be rejected, and to be even they told she was a baby eater, you know. That's how people look at her, like in the collective unconscious, because the church was so afraid of those women, you know, this witch who would go their own way, who would eat the forbidden apple, who would, you know.
And the forbidden apple is the symbol of knowledge. People, women that wanted to know, you know, the church was afraid of women that wanted to know. And
who knew the medicine of plants, and who knew like another kind of knowing, which doesn't come from the scriptures, but comes from the body and from the intuition and the instinct. And Aries are really much like that, the answer to the instincts, you know, right? And we all have Aries in us, and we just have to tap into that power and to connect with it. I have a whole program about that, the power of each signs and related to archetypes. But the first image that came was this Aries with those corns, and you know, like, I'm going there. And then the whole work of Aries is being able to connect with vulnerability, because it's good to you know, to go your own way, but then you have to be able also to take the layers off and be vulnerable with other people. That's the big challenge.
I totally agree. That's a big challenge for the Aries. Exactly.
So that was just my point about Lilith and Aries and authenticity. Yeah, I love also this authenticity theme, because you cannot just give it a definition and put it aside. You know, you really have to go into the world, into that word, and feel it and taste it and embodying it to be able to talk about it. You cannot just talk, you know, on a superficial level.
Yeah, and I feel like the more you go into it, like it reveals layer upon layer and upon layer upon layer. It
Yeah.
doesn't, it never stops. It's
No.
like, oh wow, and this is me as well, and oh wow, oh wow, wow, wow. Yeah. Yeah, Amala, I would love to talk. I could talk, you know, I could talk with you for hours and hours. And our listeners are already, they're still patient with us. So because it's at half an hour and we're like already talking for 40 minutes. So I have so many more questions, but so if there's one thing, that's my second question to you. If there's one thing, one tool, well, like from your work, from your experience, yeah, one word, one sentence, one tool, one recommend, like anything. That in your experience helps women to step into the like to step into the authenticity, to really find that inner courage.
Yeah, I would say exactly what I'm doing right now, closing eyes.
Mm.
You know, you cannot take a big decision without closing your eyes. It's all about that. I mean, your head cannot answer, the world outside cannot answer for you. How is it? I teach my son that a lot. You know, we have this fish, and it seems so sad. And so today I said to him, what about, you know, giving him his freedom, bringing him to a friend or someone with a bigger place for him? And then he said, he said, but the fish doesn't want that. And I said, have you asked? And then he said, but I don't speak fish language. And I said, yes, you do. And I said, close your eyes and ask to your heart. And then he did. And then he says yes and no. But I mean, it's all about that. The adults cannot give the answer. The newspaper cannot. You know, thinking about this medicine thing, no one can tell you the good thing to do. But if you close your eyes and you just ask your body and your heart, you have the answer straight away. Yeah. And so that would be my tool. And that's all about dream. It's looking inside and asking for inner images. So yeah, like when you have those decisions you feel you have to take, or when you are pressured or whatever, just closing eyes, connecting to your breath, your belly. What does the belly say? What does the womb say? What does the heart say? And your body knows the answer.
I'm totally with you. Yeah. Thank you, my dear. So yeah, I really hope we I'm sure not, I don't have to hope, I'm sure we did inspire some women out there. I really appreciate your honesty and your vulnerability to share your dreams and your like very intimate parts of your life. So I really appreciate that. And even though your work is in French, as we are in Switzerland, we might have some women who actually do speak French, because many women do. So if people are interested in your work, how do they find you? How are there ways to work with you? Are there ways to read your books? I mean, just let us know a little bit.
Sure. I mean, first thing I would say, it's indeed reading the books, because I put everything in it. I'm working on the next one right now. It's very intense. It's about initiation, and this work of going down and then up again.
Yeah, I remember you in Corfu, where everyone went to the beach and you just went down and in and studied and wrote.
That's That's the book. That one. And I've just, with the image you shared, this memory. So the books, for sure, I put everything in it, and they are really like a great way to start working with me, because there is a lot of they are all meant to be initiation in a way, because I work with mythology to share images. I work a lot with images, so mythology is very present. And then my website is in French, Mystères du Féminin. Maybe I'm gonna write it in comments.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
And I have online programs about dreams, about those 13 keys of feminine magic, which goes with the astrological signs. And I have this mystery school, which is in Belgium. But I have people coming from Switzerland, so maybe if you speak French, yeah. So yeah, just look at my website, and I would say start with the book and start with following me on Instagram and seeing if it resonates with you.
Yeah, and like I said, we're surely going to put it in the comments when this is going to be online. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear sister, and thank you everybody for being so patient and listening for such a long time. I'm just gonna make a short announcement that the next talk is on the 26th of September. It should be a Monday as well. And the next guest is going to be Anna Cavazzini, which is can do that in German actually. That's going to be in German, and she's a politician from the Green Party for the European Parliament, an amazing, like a very old friend, and an amazing woman who really stepped into her power in a very different field of work, and with lots of commitment, and might also be an inspiring perspective she is giving on being a woman in politics this time. So thank you everybody, and have a great night. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Amanda.